everybody for coming this evening. And we have our wonderful presenter, Danetha Doe, and she is the creator of Money and Mimosas, a community to help small business owners learn bookkeeping basics in order to grow their revenues. She's a business strategist and author of The Simple Guide to Accounting and Financial Strategy for New Entrepreneurs. She's selected as one of the top 40 under 40 accounting professionals by CPA Practice Advisor in 2015. She was featured on the Huffington Post Live with Susie Orman and named a business influencer and next generation accountant by QuickBooks and Xero in 2014. She also assists the Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center with business coaching, helping underserved individuals build successful businesses. She's passionate about helping women succeed as business owners, and she regularly leads workshops on entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and leading a life full of passion and purpose. Please give a warm welcome.
Thanks for having me today. I'm so excited. I love that this is a smaller group because I want you to get as much as you can out of this. We have some that are launching their business, some that have already launched and maybe expanding. And so whatever you need, please feel free to ask away. And with that said, I want this to be very interactive, so don't feel like I hate just standing up here and talking. So if you can ask me questions throughout, that would be fabulous. Cool. All right. So today we're going to talk about the 3 ways to get funding to jumpstart your business. If you already have launched your business, I'll also talk about ways that you can get funding to take it to that next level. And we'll talk a little bit about why you might want to get funding and why you might not. It's not always the right path for everyone. So let's jump right on in.
Danetha, will you tell us a little bit about Money and Mimosas beforehand?
My favorite thing, money and mimosas. That's it. Just yes. Yes, I should have brought some mimosas. So Money and Mimosas, there's a long history with it. Mimosas has been a part of my life at critical times. It's when I realized I wanted to be with my partner forever. It was also my way to get through a really bad depression when I had no money. I would treat myself to a mimosa, and after I looked at my bank account that had no money in it. So it was my way to get through that. But Money and Mimosas is just that. It's about seeing the beauty in life even when you're going through tough times. And it's a community that I have. It's all online do-it-yourself courses. And they're for that business owner that just needs that extra support, whether it's resources or a little bit of confidence to start her business.
Okay, cool.
So that's Money and Mimosas. If you're on social media, feel free to hashtag it. Okay. Hi, welcome. So let's talk a little bit about who this is for. I got to meet almost all of you. Welcome. This is for you if you are a new small business owner or seeking funding for an existing business. So whether you have already launched your business, this is for you, or if you're about to start your business. If you think you might need funding within the next 3 years, so if you are just launching one-on-one work, you don't necessarily need funding right now, but maybe you want to open up your own center, or you want to expand and include products, this will also help you think about that. And if you want to expand your business, which can mean a lot of things, usually it's hiring, sometimes it's expanding to another location, funding could help you make that next step in your business. And a little bit about me. Mary gave a fabulous introduction and covered pretty much everything. One of the fun things that I like to share is that I am a former NFL cheerleader, which only means that I understand the creative side of business. Although I studied accounting, I won't say that I'm actually more left brain, I'm more right brain. And so I get it when you think, oh my goodness, I do not want to look at the money, I don't want to think about systems, I just want to do what I'm passionate about. If I could just do that, my life would be great. So I understand what that's like. And if you're on Twitter, definitely follow me at Danetha Doe. Any NFL fans in here, by the way? Yeah, what's your favorite team?
I mean, the Niners.
I like how you had to take a pause.
Everybody can laugh.
sheet of paper, you can take notes on there, or if you have a notepad, go ahead and take notes. We'll talk about how to determine if you need funding. Sometimes we want to jump in and say, oh, I want money just because I need that $5 grand or 10 grand, but really taking a step back and determining if you actually need the funding, and if you do, how to go about doing that. Talk about the different funding options. There are a lot of options now for us as small business owners to get money, which is really exciting. This is not something that was even 10, 15, 20 years ago not accessible to the common business owner to be able to get money for their business. Now we have a lot of different options, and the ones that I'll talk about mainly are for the small business owner. I'll talk about 3 specifically. And then how to prepare your financials to attract funding. I'll go into what your financials should look like depending upon the route that you decide to take. And as I mentioned before, some things that you might need funding for: if you're launching a new business or product, if you're purchasing expensive equipment. As a business owner, you want to make sure you have enough cash on hand. Cash is queen, as I like to say, and you don't want to use your own to have to take your business to the next level. So if you're purchasing equipment at any time, usually getting funding for that is the best route to go. And then again, expanding the business. If you're hiring, if you're going to the next location, if you're expanding nationwide, some things to think about. Some things that you might not think about when you might need funding, especially if you're a consultant or a coach. And a lot of times, and this is my work too as a consultant, we invoice 30, 60 days out. In between that time, you still have bills to pay. Your creditors, the people that you owe money, aren't going to wait 30 or 60 days. So sometimes you need to get funding to help fill that gap in between the time when you send the invoice and when the client pays you. And there are different funding options for that. Those are called accounts receivables funding. I won't talk too much about that type of funding today, but know that if you are going the consulting route, that there is specific opportunities for you to help bridge that gap in between payments. Another note on that, if you are a consultant and you are invoicing, try to get a deposit up front first. I learned that the hard way. You deserve to get paid while you're servicing them and not have to wait until the very end. Why funding is ideal? Is there other, well, I already have the answers up here, so I'll wait till the next slide. But usually a lot of times as business owners, sometimes we'll use our credit cards to fund our business, which is totally fine. I've done that before. Actually, I didn't share this in the beginning, but I started my business right after college, my first business right after college. Went completely broke, which led to being homeless and not paying my student loans. Just a whole lot of things happened after that. Part of the reason that I had such a huge financial difficulty after that was because I was funding my business using my credit card. 18%, 16%, those are really high interest rates. And if you go to a bank, if you go to the other options that I'll talk about later, usually interest rates are about 5%, 2.5%, and they're a lot more lenient if you have to delay payment for any reason. So that might be one reason that you want to go the funding route as opposed to self-funding with your own credit cards or your own money. Business consulting support. For those of you who have already started a business or thinking about a business, you know that you're wearing a million hats, and a lot of times you don't have the expertise for all those different areas that you have to think about. And getting funding from a bank or the microlender, which I'll mention later, they provide that support to you after they've given you the funding. So they'll have a marketing expert that you can reach out to. They'll have an attorney that you can reach out to and get free legal advice and help you set up your documentation the right way. So as an accountant, they'll also have access to a tax accountant to help you file appropriately. So going that route, working with an organization that provides funding can also help you provide that team to support you during those beginning stages when you really need it the most. A network and community to utilize. It's really lonely as a business owner a lot of times, unless you've got your girlfriends that are your business partners, or you have a business partner, or and you're working with a group of people, or maybe you're in a co-working space, a lot of times you are in the business by yourself, and to have a network or a community that you can tap into, just to ask questions, just to share that you're having a bad day, you just need that extra motivation. Going this route, working with a funding organization can provide that for you. And last but not least, press and exposure, which is not something we always think about when we're thinking about funding our business, but when I talk later about crowdfunding, going that route is the best way to get marketing and PR, and you're also not only getting money, but you're also getting exposure for your business and products and services. Any questions so far? Cool. All right, well, let's jump into the 3 different main funding options that you can take. And after speaking to most of you, I think we'll focus on one this evening, but I just want to touch on all 3 just so you have some basic information that you can take with you. The first one is the traditional route, which is going through your bank. It's a large bank, Chase, Bank of America, and they have lots of loans, funding options for small businesses. The most important one, and the one that most business owners go through, is the SBA loan. You'll hear that a lot. SBA 7A is the one that most banks will issue to small business owners in the community. Micro lenders. We are so lucky living here in the Bay Area. There is a ton of options for small business owners through this new channel called microlending. And microlending is a community organization either based in Oakland or San Francisco, Marin County, Sonoma County, and they are specifically funding businesses within the local community. And these types of organizations are the ones that will really support your growth in terms of getting you funding, but also connecting you to that network that I mentioned previously, attorneys, accountants, those people that can help you really support your business and take it to that next level. And crowdfunding. Are we all familiar with crowdfunding? No? Crowdfunding is pretty fabulous. So until 2012, when crowdfunding became an actual platform because of social media, prior to 2012, individuals, the normal individual on the street couldn't actually loan money to a business. So you had to have a net worth of $1 million and $250,000 in cash in order to be able to invest in a business. Now, with social media and this new platform called crowdfunding, any individual can support a business because they're passionate about the same thing. So things like Kickstarter is one that's really popular, Indiegogo. You can donate $10, $20 to a business or a cause because you want to support someone and their dream.
That's how I paid for school.
Crowdfunding?
Yeah, half of it.
How did you do that?
I did GoFundMe,
Yes.
and I raised almost $7,000.
Wow. I love that.
Mostly 20s and a couple hundreds and 200 and yeah, and it was amazing. And I did it and raised it in like 3 months.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about that. So how did you market it?
I just spread it to friends and family and then it's also available on GoFundMe, and so there were strangers that chipped in as well that just saw that I was wanting to go to nutrition school, change my life, change my health. You know, I kept doing updates all the time about how important it was to me, really pushed the personal angle. And people were really cool. I mean, there were people like, I want to do that too. I'm gonna, chip in $10 to yours, hoping that someday people will do that for me too. And other people were like, good for you. Here's $20 that I didn't even know.
So awesome. I love that. Yeah. Well, and that's the beauty of crowdfunding. You are connecting with strangers, and that's where the press and exposure comes from. So she was able to connect with people that had no idea who you were. But because of that platform, they amplified your message. They shared it. If it was a business, they would be sharing your products, your services, so you wouldn't just get funding, you might get potential clients too, because they think, oh my gosh, I am really passionate as well about what you're
And it's
doing.
so easy to do. I mean, uploading the pictures and it was just I did it in like 15 minutes. So yeah.
That's great. I love that. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the traditional loan. I won't spend too much time on this because I think crowdfunding and microlending will resonate a little bit more with the type of business that we have here today. But just in case, if you are thinking about going big and you want to launch a business or expand your business nationally, you want to open up another location or open up your first location, you should definitely know about traditional loans through a bank. And traditional loans, meaning Bank of America, Chase, you can also think about some credit unions in the area. They have to be a little bit larger to provide these types of funding, but your normal bank will have this. And the SBA loan is the most popular loan option through a bank for a small business. They do ask, and why it's not usually one that's used by most small businesses, is that you have to ask for a minimum of $250,000, and they lend up to $5 million. So definitely if you need a huge chunk of change, the banks have it. And they want to support small businesses, especially small businesses within their local community. Go ahead.
So if you wanted to get like say like $30,000 or $50,000, would you just go to a credit union then, or do they have the same exact type of funding option?
They would have the same type, so that would be micro lenders, which we'll spend more time on because that's where they fund businesses. It's under this $250,000.
My friend got a loan for $30,000. She said she kept referring to the bank, and I could ask her more about it, but I was just curious because it sounded like she got a bank loan for it, but I could be wrong.
She might have, depending upon the bank that she's with. With the SBA loan, they want you to ask for a minimum of $250,000.
So this particular loan that is that amount of money.
This particular loan, which is 98% of the loans that they give out through banks, and the reason why it's so much higher, I'm not sure what your friend's situation was. She may have been with the bank for a long time. She may have been doing other products with them. She may have had a credit card, an auto loan, a mortgage loan, a lot of different things through that bank, and so they could see her track record. The reason why they want $250,000 is because they have to make some sort of return on it. And if the interest rate is around 5%, for them to make sense of it financially, it has to be a little bit larger of a loan. But yeah, I would ask your friend how she went about doing that. Yeah, so the interest rate is about 5.5% for these loans. And the process for going through your bank, definitely go through one that you have some sort of track record with, because they can look at your bank accounts, look at the other credit cards you may have with them, and that will speak to how well you'll be able to pay them back and how quickly. They'll also check your credit, see what your credit score is. With banks, they want to have, I'll put it in quotes, a good credit score. So a good credit score meaning 650 or above, typically, for these loans. However, if you can speak to any blemishes on your report, this is a very relationship type of process, going through the loan process, and you're going to work really closely with the bank manager through this, the small business bank manager. You can speak to any blemishes, just let them know, this is why X is on my report, it's been 3 years, and this is my track record since then. You can usually speak away some of those blemishes. Not all the time, but again, it's a very relationship-based process, and they'll also ask for your business plan, and you'll probably have a presentation with that bank manager, so they'll not only see the business plan written, but they'll see your passion and your vision, and they'll be able to connect with that, and they'll be more likely to give you a loan. Any questions on traditional loans? Yes?
Well, I have a question. If someone's looking for an SBA loan, would you recommend going directly to the bank or going through like SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, to help them? They can typically like help you with that application process, isn't it? And then do they shop it around, or you could then take that to the bank? Like, have you seen a different outcome in either way?
Yeah, so the SBDC, I'm glad you brought that up. The SBDC, for those that aren't familiar with this, the Small Business Development Center. Every city has one. It's funded by the U.S. government. You have it here in Oakland, Berkeley, Sonoma County, I'm sure has it as well. So the SBDC is a great resource for helping you prepare your package. They won't present it, they won't shop it around for you, but they will help you make sure that all the pieces are there. And what's great about going through them is that they usually have those relationships. So they'll know the business bank manager, they can make that email introduction and say, Susie's here, she can walk you through the rest of the way. Yeah. Go ahead,
I was gonna say, is there any collateral you have to give when you get a loan like this?
Depends. So usually they'll want to see you that you have a home that you can put against the loan, or they'll ask for a cosigner if you don't have a huge amount of collateral to put against the loan. That's usually what they'll look for.
I have a really real basic. Okay, so interest rate is about 5.5%. Is that that's the yearly amount that you're going to be adding on to, that you're going to be paying them? So like of $250,000, it's like $13,000.
Sure, I'm an accountant and I can't do math in my head, but I
Okay.
think it's
Well,
about
yeah, 25, half of 25, 12 and a half, and then a little bit more than that. So that's how much you're going to be paying to them every year, right?
Right, so whatever you take out, tack on an additional 5.5% to that
Okay.
total amount, and that's what you'll end up paying.
And then how long do you have to pay it back, or is that negotiated?
Well, that's why the interest rate is about 5.5%. It depends on how long you ask for the loan. Usually they're around 3 to 5 years that you have to pay it back. If you ask for more, then your rate will be higher. So the longer your loan is, the higher the rate is.
Okay.
Yeah. What's also good about going this route too, none of the examples that I'll share with you today, but there are some loans where if you pay early, you have a balloon payment that you have to pay. So the bank essentially isn't making, or not the bank, I shouldn't say the bank, whoever you're loaning from isn't going to make all the money back because you've paid early. So just watch out for that too. Read the terms. If it says there's a balloon payment because you paid a year early and they're not going to make interest on that year, just know that that's sometimes something that you'll see. With this loan option, usually not. You pay it early and they're like, thank you, and come back for your next loan. All right, microlenders. Is anyone familiar with microlenders? Miriam? Great. Cool.
Is slow money considered a microlender?
Slow money.
Are you not familiar?
No, what's that?
They're typically lending for food, farmers or other food type organizations or companies. But you have to have shown that you already have a certain amount of scalability going before they lend out. Usually you'll have gotten crowdfunding and show that you're doing well in order to get that seed money. Seed funding.
Seed funding. Okay, so slow. What does it stand for?
Slow money?
Just slow?
Slow.
Just slow?
Like slow food.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm not familiar with them. Do you know how much they loan? Or lend
I
out?
would say they're up there in the 100,000 plus, and that's why they really make sure whoever's getting money is already established in some way.
Okay. What they sound like, there's an organization in Oakland called the Inner City Advisors. They've lent money to the Revolution Foods business. So what they do is they are a microlender because they're underneath that $250,000, but they want to see some sort of track record. So you have to be in business, I think, for at least 3 years. You have to have $250,000 in revenue before they will entertain the process with you. So it sounds similar, but slow focuses on slow food. I'll check them out. Thank you. Microlenders, two of the most popular ones here in the Bay Area, Oakland Business Development Center and Working Solutions. Now you guys are in Sonoma. Is there anyone that's in Oakland, based in Oakland? Great, awesome. So they funded 80% of the businesses along Broadway, the main strip in Oakland. There's a huge transportation line going in from 14th to San Leandro, and they're doing most of the funding for those businesses along International Boulevard over the next few years. They work really closely with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, if you do want to go the traditional loan route, Wells Fargo just announced that they are giving $180 million to small businesses within underserved communities, minority communities. Women fall into minority in this case. And Oakland Business Development Center receives $1.5 million of those dollars to give to businesses in the local area. Most of them are going to Oakland-based businesses, but it's any business within the Bay Area that they will talk to, as well as Working Solutions. Working Solutions is in San Francisco, and they do the same thing. They provide funding to local businesses that have a focus on the local community. So microlenders are just like a bank in that they're going to ask for a business plan, they're going to ask to see your credit score, they're going to walk you through a pretty strategic process before giving you the loan. However, their focus is the local community. They want to work with businesses that are going to support either hiring local community members, or you're a solopreneur and you're going to be giving back to the community in some way, shape, or form. The other difference is that their loans are a lot less. When I first started my company 4 years ago, this was who I went through, microlenders. The company, unfortunately, is no longer in business, but they focus on Oakland-based businesses, and they loaned anywhere from as little as $5,000, maybe you just need that quick jump start, all the way up to about $250,000, right at that threshold that the larger banks will loan one start out at. Usually their loans are around $30,000 to $50,000, these microlenders. And what's really awesome about microlenders, they're super supportive of the local community. They want to make sure you're successful. So they will provide that community support that I mentioned. So once you get, well, let's walk through the beginning process. So they'll ask you for your business plan, they'll ask for a credit score, and then they'll ask you to do a presentation. And usually that presentation is to a group of 10 or 15 bankers. And these bankers are with the larger banks, and they have funded this microlender to give back to the local community. Really great process to help you walk through and comb through your business, because before you get to that presentation table, you'll have met with one of their team members a half dozen times, a few times, and they will critique your business plan. They'll let you know, okay, this is a hole I see. Have you really thought about what this will look like 3 years from now? Have you looked through your cash flow? And really walk you through that process. So even if you don't get the funding, that support and that knowledge and being able to talk to someone that can help you flush through your ideas is invaluable. Whether or not you get the funding, at least you've gotten that base. There isn't. Yeah. It's really awesome. I mean, they want you to be going through the process to apply for a loan.
Right.
But yeah, there's no fee for it. And then after the fact, after you are awarded the funding, then they provide you with that support to help you continue to grow your business. So business consultants you'll have access to, attorneys, accountants, all within their network. They also do a lot of workshops and classes that you can come in and get to meet other people that have gone through the same process, and you can share where you are in your business and help each other grow. Yeah, that's a pretty great question.
Do you have some recommendations for finding a microlender in closer to your local area?
Sure. Where are you based?
Contra Costa County. So I'm in Concord, but I do work with some people who are in Oakland and stuff like that. So I don't know if it would fall under one of those. But is it as easy as just googling microlenders in different areas? Or?
Yeah, I would start there. Microlender, Contra Costa. I would also reach out to Oakland Business Development Center and Working Solutions. Although they're based in Oakland and San Francisco, they fund businesses all around the area, and if they don't, they can definitely connect you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
Are there okay, so for doing the business plan, are there preferred formats, because I know there's sort of
So with a traditional bank or a microlender, they want a straightforward business plan, meaning they'll want your mission statement, they'll want to see your
Summary, the whole thing.
summary, and we'll talk a little bit about the financial piece that you need to have in there too. But let's say 5 pages. They don't want a book.
Okay. They
So-
don't want the 20-page one. Okay.
Not a 20-page one. If your business deems that,
Okay.
and only you would know and the person you're working with would know, but usually 5 pages is fine. What they really focus on is that presentation.
Okay. You know what you're talking about and you really have it down.
If you know what you're talking about, well, in the business plan, you can't communicate, I'm transitioning from one position to another because I had an epiphany that I'm not doing what I love to be doing, and this is why. You can communicate that through the written word, but if you can speak that and share that with the lenders around the table, that's really what they want to hear.
In the presentation, are they really like, what's the main thing they're focusing on and wanting to hear? Like how you're going to generate revenue, how you're going to give back to the community, like what is it that they really want?
All of it. They want you to be perfect. Well, they're financial people, so the return on their investment is really important. You have to communicate how you're going to make the money back because that's how they'll make their money back on the loan. They also, the microlender route, they are really passionate about the community. So you may want to be upfront and say, I don't think I'm going to make a profit for these first couple of years, but I'll be providing part-time jobs for high school students during this time. Or I'm going to be doing workshops for the low-income community members on nutrition. And this is why it's so important because we have an obesity issue and all these other things. So both is really important, and if one isn't up to par, so to speak, then just compensate that with the other side.
Do you know what their level of tolerance for like non-profitability is? Like in terms of like timeline, is it like you have X amount of time until you can be profitable, or they just care about you paying the loan back?
At any time. So usually these loans you have 3 to 5 years to pay them back. Sometimes you can bump that up to 10 years. That's in very rare instances, but usually 3 to 5. From an IRS standpoint, they want to see some sort of profit after 3 years. Otherwise, they'll deem it a hobby, and you can no longer write off your expenses. So that's something to think about. But yeah, usually they want to see you paying it back within 3 to 5 years.
You said after 3 years, they have to see profit?
Yes. So they say.
Yeah.
But yes, that's the guideline with the IRS. Any other questions? Microlenders are my favorite thing to talk about.
Just one more question about like finding, because I've not looked for organizations here, but like in other places that I've lived, there are a lot of organizations that will be like XYC Business Development Center or something like that, where they do have like the classes that you talked about, some of the resources, and then they may either provide funding or help you with packaging that. Is that considered like a micro lending source, or it just depends on if they're actually supplying the funds?
So they have to supply the funds for them to be a microlending source. For instance, the Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center in San Francisco will help you package this information. They'll do workshops and classes, but they don't actually give out money.
Okay.
So that's a business development center, not a microlender.
What is it called, Renaissance?
Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center. And they're great. They're in San Francisco, Marin County, Oakland. I want to say they have a new location. Really great resource. And they do provide free business coaching as well. So if you're looking for, whether it's, maybe you're not looking for funding, but you just want help with fleshing out all of your ideas, paid outside experts. So I was sharing this with Jenny before. They're great because they want to really support the low-income, underserved community, as well as support business owners. So they get funding from a number of different sources: government, private, investors, and they'll pay outside experts.
Have you heard of Women's Initiative for Self-Employment?
Yes.
I went through that years ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
They're
I think maybe 2005 or something.
What was your biggest takeaway from that organization?
Was doing, you know, you sort of do a block of the business plan each week that you meet. So having, yeah, I mean, even though that wasn't a business that I want to open now, maybe I'll revisit it sort of in a different way, but I have a beautiful business plan from that. So really just this slow, like walking through each section of it, and we had great lecturers, great people come in to really, who were very passionate about it. Yeah.
What is that organization called?
Women's Initiative for Self-Employment, and it's also focusing on lower income women.
They unfortunately are closed now. So they
Oh,
went
I
out of
know.
business a couple years ago and have rolled up into the Renaissance. So the Renaissance absorbed the organization.
Oh,
but
okay.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
they're closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to so many women that went through that program here in the area.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if there are no more questions on micro-lending, let's chat a little bit about crowdfunding. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
How you doing?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Craziest traffic ever.
It is.
But I'm at 5.
Oh my goodness. No worries. Oh, it's almost, okay, 7. Cool. Okay. Well, welcome. We're just now talking about crowdfunding. And crowdfunding. So we already have an awesome example of how it works. GoFundMe is a platform if you have a cause or if you're going to school, you can use that to support those that funding. Crowdfunding is also, there are other options as well. So GoFundMe is one for businesses. Check out Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or Moolah. I happen to be partial to Indiegogo and Moolah because they are started by women. And they're all great platforms, and they all have different reasons for using it. So Kickstarter is really for those businesses. If you're creating some sort of product, you'll use Kickstarter. Indiegogo is more service-based. Moolah is for women, created by women, and that's their passion, their mission. So depending upon which platform works best for your business, check them out. The key to any crowdfunding platform, you can make as much money as you need or as little money as you need. It's wide open. The key with crowdfunding is your marketing and social media strategy. You have to have some sort of social media presence, some sort of engagement in order to make it work. I like to say that crowdfunding is more of a PR campaign than it really is to get money, because it's really about spreading the word, communicating your passion to people that may never meet you and just want to hear why your business, your product has to exist. So if you're really good at communicating on video, if you have a business that's all centered around passion, this is the best platform for you to use. And it's also a way for you to start generating clients as well, because the same people that are going to fund you will probably turn around and become clients as well. One of the things I like to say with crowdfunding, start planning at least 6 months before and give yourself 3 months to raise that money. Usually you want to have at least 30 to 50% of it raised within that first week. After that, traction starts to dwindle and it's hard to get people to get to your page. So you want to give yourself some time so that when you launch your crowdfunding campaign, as many people as you can reach beforehand know about it and are anticipating it. One of the best ways to get funding as well as as marketing it beforehand, is also giving some really cool prizes away. Maybe if you're a personal chef, maybe part of your personal items are, you name them after some of your funders. Well, that's a really great way to get funding for those that want some charity. There's a great lipstick that was launched. It was organic, and if you gave, I think it was a couple brands, you could have one of the lipstick colors named after you. That could be worth it, totally. If that lipstick became viral and was really popular, you have this amazing lip color that's named after you. If you're opening up a center, definitely want to provide some sort of incentive for those that want to give you a little bit more. Maybe it's their name on the plaque, or you give them a plaque. So think about the types of incentives that you can provide to the people that fund your campaign, and really focus on which social media platform you're going to be using. So if it's Twitter or Instagram, if your business is more image-based, so if you are a chef and you're showcasing your food, Instagram's probably the way to go. If you're more of a nutrition consultant and you're thinking about, and you share a lot of information about how to do it yourself, Twitter is a great way to do that because it's short little bits of information that people can share. And think of a hashtag that you can use to go along with it. You might want to use a hashtag. Is everyone familiar with hashtags? So hashtags on social media, that is the pound sign and then a phrase after it. What's really cool about it is you hit that pound sign and that phrase after it, and you can see every post that relates to it. So if you have a specific hashtag related to your campaign, everyone can see, oh my goodness, everyone's talking about this campaign. What is it? It can start trending. Or if you attach your campaign to a hashtag that's already really popular, like clean eats is really popular on Instagram, clean, healthy eating, you can start to generate some buzz because people are already searching those hashtags. Yeah. Any questions on crowdfunding?
What were you saying about the 6 months? You want to start planning and doing, like, giving yourself 6 months in terms of, like, marketing yourself or your product or your business before you actually, like, jump on Kickstarter? Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Give yourself 6 months. So it can be up to a year process. Give yourself 6 months to plan it, and then give yourself 3 months to make the money, so 9 months total. But yeah, 6 months, because you can make this as elaborate as you want to. You can connect with bloggers, you can connect with other people that have influencers that have social media accounts with a lot of followers. You might want to get your local community involved as well. Perhaps you're going to do an event to kick it off. So give yourself some time to plan it out and coordinate all those little pieces before launching it. Any other questions? Why are you chuckling?
It's just a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about, you know. Yeah.
All that.
I'm not feeling extremely verbal today. Sorry.
It's fine. It's been a long day. And it's been rainy, which is good. We need the rain, but
Yeah.
it just kind of makes our brains mush. Well, if you have any questions about crowdfunding, let me know. It's the only platform or the only option I should say that I talked about today where you don't need to have a business plan, you just have to have a marketing plan. But you don't have to present it to anyone. You don't have to show your credit score. That whole side isn't involved with this.
But a lot of them, if you don't raise the entire amount that you're asking for, then you have to give back the people that have donated to.
Exactly.
So if you're saying I need 60,000 to open this and you raise 42,000, then it dissolves.
Exactly. And another thing to think about, one of the key differences between Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So Kickstarter, if someone gives you pledges an amount of money, their credit card isn't charged until the full amount is hit, which is great. However, if you do hit that full amount and then for whatever reason their credit card declines, maybe they lost the card, they changed it, you may not get that funding because of that technicality. With Indiegogo, they charge the credit card immediately, so you know that the funds are there.
I thought Indiegogo allows for you to have flexible funding in terms of, you have a choice of doing the all or nothing, or getting a certain, whatever amount that you actually raised, versus the goal amount. So you didn't make the goal amount, Indiegogo has a certain, option in which you can get a certain, whatever you do in back raise.
So milestones, like if you hit a certain milestone, you might get all
I'm not sure, but
that.
that's why I remember talking to somebody and they said they liked Indiegogo more because of that flexibility.
That could,
But the flip side is Kickstarter is very like pressure filled, and it's like, we gotta do it, we gotta raise it, or else we're not gonna make the money. And in that regard, Kickstarter has that appeal of, it just has energy of like a sports event, you know, it's like everyone involved gotta make it, you know, let's make it happen. Whereas Indiegogo, my understanding is there is that room to make, you know, take in whatever you do get.
you might be right. There might be milestones that you can
Right.
hit. So if you want to raise 10 grand, if you hit 3 grand, you get all of that money. If you hit 45 grand, but you don't hit 5, you only keep that 3 grand. You might be right there,
Yeah.
where you have that option. So yeah, if that's the route you want to go, definitely research different platforms. And each platform speaks to a different kind of business. People will fund projects or go to different platforms because of various interests. So know which one works best for your company. Go ahead.
What is with the interest rates? Because if you're just supposedly getting money from people who are giving you like $10, $20, 100, 300, 1,000, who are you paying interest to?
That's a great question. So
To
what's not
platforms?
listed to the platform? Some platforms have an equity component, and I didn't list those options here, but there's crowd equity. So this is a new platform in the last year and a half, 2 years, where you can be an investor and invest money into a business with some sort of return back. It's still crowdfunding, but you get a return on your investment. So with those, there are varied interest rates depending upon the platform you use.
Oh, but for
But
like
most
Indie-
you can do it just do like a transaction fee of some sort.
what do you
Wait,
mean?
For like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, wouldn't it just be like, here's like a percentage of your amount that you've received, and they take that as like a processing fee for the platform?
Well, there's a processing fee, so there's a processing fee.
Like rather than interest rate, it's like straight up, here's your fee.
Right, so if you like accept money from PayPal, you have a 2.9% fee plus 30 cents. So yes, you'll have that transaction fee, but interest rates, those are different platforms where you are investing in a business and you get your investment back. And in that, there are different interest rates that you will have to pay as the business owner. So like an angel investor or a venture capitalist, those opportunities are only afforded to certain people. With this platform, you can become an investor if it's a crowd equity platform and get some sort of return. Which is something to think about too. If you want to work with an investor through one of those crowd equity platforms, you get that same type of support. As opposed to crowdfunding, you know, there are people that are giving you money, but they aren't going to necessarily support your business growth after the fact. With the crowd equity platforms, you have the potential in some cases to work a little bit more closely with people that have a business background and can help you grow your business. Yeah.
One thing I never really understood about crowdfunding is fulfillment, the issues around fulfillment. So say you offer some prizes, but you don't have to actually fulfill them, is that right? This is one thing I'm really unclear on.
I definitely pay for things like Kickstarter and not gotten those there.
Yeah,
Right.
so what is the deal with that? I don't understand it.
It's a thing that happens.
So you're
People
not-
just don't fulfill or...
And you're not held to it, there's no accountability.
No, like with
there's no-
mine, after I graduated school, I went back and wrote to everybody that had donated that had hit, you know, whatever
product. A
Okay.
lot of things can happen. So it's a risk that you take as an investor. You're given the opportunity to invest in this business through the crowdfunding platform, which goes back to why for a long time not everyone was able to do that, because it is a risk that most people can't or should not take, because the business may not get off the ground. They may never make those
So
incentives.
that's helpful because say one of us wants to do it and we're not able to make the fulfillment, that's what I was not clear on. Is there like you have to do it or else you're gonna get sued? And clearly that's not the case.
I haven't heard of anyone getting sued. It is your reputation,
Gotcha.
certainly. And if you get a ton of backers and they know that you never came out with your business and you try to get more funding again in the future, it's going to be hard. But yeah, I don't think you get sued. I don't think
It'd be interesting to
Just
see
another
if
comment.
anybody's ever gotten sued, yeah.
that would be interesting.
I'm sure there's something in the small print that says, hey, you're about to get money, but there's no guarantee that this person.
on your own.
Yeah.
Your own
At
risk.
your own risk.
Yeah.
Totally.
Donate at your own, yeah.
The federal government has gone after people, but
The federal government?
hold on, I'm waiting for this page to load, but the failed Kickstarter campaign was 112 pages on it for a game just like Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my gosh. Well, there you go.
Good.
The government
FCC 's going
went
after them, yeah.
Class action, I'm sure something.
Yeah, if it's big enough, if you've gotten enough people to fund you, yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah. So, questions? Any last questions on crowdfunding? We'll talk about financials really quickly. Okay, cool. So if you go the more traditional route, so traditional loan, microlender, you'll have to have some sort of business plan and projections for them to see, and they'll want to walk with you through that. They want to see typically a 3-year business plan, which is sometimes really hard to think about when you're just launching a business and you have no idea what it will look like. But an educated guess, research your potential competitors, your peers, ask a lot of questions. Look out 3 years. And what they really want to focus on, these are financial people, and so they like their budgets and their projections. They really want to see the financial piece. They definitely want to see the marketing and how you're going to get the product to as many people as possible, but they want to see, okay, what are you going to use this funding for? Is it going to marketing? Is it going to hiring people? Is it going to buy equipment? Is it going to fund your education to get certain certifications? What is this money needed for? Is it travel? Are you going to start doing a lot of speaking and seminars and workshops and you need that type of funding? Be very detailed as to how you'll allocate these funds. And then your projections. How much do you think you'll make? Are you going to strictly do one-on-one nutrition consulting, or are you also going to offer some sort of group sessions? Are you also going to do workshops? Are you also going to come out with your own line of products? What are your projections over these next 3 years of how you'll earn that money? And within that, how you'll pay them back and when you think you'll be able to pay them back. They will probably ask for 3 key financial sheets, and I won't bore you with what those are, but if you use a bookkeeping program and plug in some numbers, it'll spit it out for you. Your balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement. And balance sheet is not as important if you don't have equipment, let's say, but cash flow for sure is going to be really, really key. They want to see when you'll start making money back and when you'll have enough cash in the bank. And then your income statement will show when you'll start turning a profit.
So balance sheet is not as important if you don't have equipment.
Right. If you don't, balance sheet is your assets. So if you have a lot of physical assets with your business, if you're more of a service-based business, your balance sheet isn't as critical in this step of fundraising.
So how do you get really accurate numbers to truly project? Because I noticed that first 3-year window, you're really going to be successful and make it in business, and especially the food industry. So, you ask around and you kind of pull some numbers from the sky, I guess. how do you know it's really meaty enough and realistic and not a dream?
That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer because we're all dreaming. No, you hit the nail on the head. It's projections, it's educated guesses. Whether you have the most amazing business background, so this is your first rodeo, it's all going to be a guess. The way you can hedge your bets is to do a lot of research. Ask a lot of people within your space, research businesses online, talk to other people that have seen these business plans and have seen businesses after they've been in business for 3 or 5 years to see, okay, this is real, this is realistic, or this is actually a dream. You should probably look at this expense a little bit more closely. Or it's going to cost you twice as much as you think it's going to cost you. That's usually the case. It will probably cost you twice as much as you initially think. So yeah, doing a lot of research, asking a lot of people.
Is that bookkeeping program called Zero or Xero?
Xero, X-E-R-O.
Okay.
Yeah, I love this program for a couple of reasons. So it's really clean, great design, intuitive, and it also connects with Cabbage, which is another way to get financing for your business once you've been in business. So they'll use your bookkeeping program to see, oh yeah, they've been in business for 6 months, they have these outstanding invoices, we can fund them for these next 6 months because we know they'll be able to pay us back quickly. And it gets all that information from your bookkeeping program. And that's the way a lot of funding is going now, is pulling information from your bookkeeping program to justify a loan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
it's pretty cool.
Xero has a lot of, I'm actually trying to sell them advertising right now. They have a lot of good blog posts on their small business owners, so there's a lot of resources there too.
There is. Yeah, I'm an author for a lot of them, and it's the most comprehensive small business resource online, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, Xero.com.
And you can do a free trial.
You can do a free trial. Yeah, check them out. They're really great company and great program. All right, so that's it. These are some local funding options. I talked about most of them already. Another one is Keep a Zip, which has a really great tie with the city of Oakland. Oakland was the first city to create a partnership with Keep a Zip. Keep a Zip provides loans at 0% interest, and up to a certain threshold, if you are an Oakland resident and your business is going to be based in Oakland, the city of Oakland will match whatever funding you get through that platform. It's up to a certain threshold. It's going to change next year, so I'm not sure what that will be, but definitely check it out. It's an amazing company, nonprofit, and yeah, they're international, but the city of Oakland has a special relationship with them. And that is it. Again, if you're on Twitter, yes, mimosas, if you're on Twitter, definitely find me. And you do have my information on that sheet as well. So I hope this was helpful for all of you.
Absolutely.
Do you provide consulting, individual consulting, like one-on-one?
Do I? I do, yes. So about my work, I work with small business owners and walk them through the funding process as well as the business strategy. So once you've launched, what that looks like for you. Yeah.
I have a question. The last page, was Opportunity Fund one of the, oh, yeah,
I did not talk about them. Yeah, so they are based in San Francisco, and they are another option similar to Working Solutions. They provide funding. With them, you do have to be in business for a couple of years, and they also provide that support after the fact, so business consultants, attorneys, and accountants.
And then another question, if you're not, like I'm not necessarily looking for funding right now, but as I'm growing the business and trying to, like if there's a need for funding down the line in a couple of years or something, do you have recommendations for like how to best position myself, especially with like, building those kind of relationships?
What you can do now? Meet with these people. Any of these organizations, just get to know the staff. They're usually there for a long time. changed the way I thought about accounting. My background's in accounting, and I came across them while I was doing my accounting work, and frustrated, and then I saw them pop up on my screen. I was like, oh my goodness, this is literally the future. It cuts the accountant shop in half and allows us to